The small fleet of Earthships moved slowly through the darkness of space. They were far from home, near the edge of the solar system. Their job was to watch for any dangers that might come toward Earth. Lieutenant Jack Miller looked out the main window of his ship. The blackness of space always made him feel small. "Lieutenant, we're picking up something strange," said Officer Penny Davis. Her eyes were fixed on the screen in front of her. "It's big, really big." Jack moved quickly. To her side, the radar showed a massive object floating in space ahead of them. It wasn't moving like a comet or asteroid. It just sat there, as if waiting for them. "Is it giving off any signals?" Jack asked. Penny shook her head. "Nothing. It's silent." Jack called the captain. "Captain Kelly, we found something unusual. Request permission to move closer for a better look." Captain Kelly's voice came through clearly. "Permission granted, Lieutenant, but be careful. If anything seems off, pull back right away." Jack ordered the ship to move forward slowly. As they got closer, the object became visible through the front window. Everyone on the bridge fell silent. It was a ship, not a human ship. It was at least 20 times larger than their own vessel. Its surface was smooth and shiny, with strange patterns that seemed to glow faintly. "It's Vraxion," said Science Officer Lisa Thompson, who had joined them on the bridge. Her voice was filled with wonder. "It matches the descriptions from the Yaws. Contact 50 years ago. The Vraxions were aliens who had visited Earth briefly, 5 decades earlier. They had shared some basic knowledge, promised to return someday, then left. No one had seen them since." "Are there any signs of life?" Jack asked. Lisa checked her instruments. "I'm detecting power, but it's very low, like it's running on emergency systems. No movement inside that I can tell." Jack reported back to Captain Kelly, who ordered a small team to check out the alien ship. Jack would lead, with Lisa and 4 security officers joining him. They put on their spacesuits and traveled across the gap between the ships in a small shuttle. Finding an entrance was easy. A large door on the side of the alien ship was partly open. "It's like they left in a hurry," Jack said as they floated through the opening. Inside, the alien ship was even more impressive. The halls were tall and wide, with the same glowing patterns they had seen outside running along the walls. The gravity systems were still working, so they could walk normally once they were inside. "Look at this," said Lisa, pointing to objects scattered on the floor. "Personal items, tools, devices." They definitely left quickly. They moved deeper into the ship, finding more signs that the aliens had dropped everything and run. Food was left on tables. Doors were left open. But there were no bodies, no signs of fighting, no damage to the ship. What could make an entire crew abandon ship like this? Asked Ben Cole, one of the security officers. No one had an answer. They reached what seemed to be the center of the ship, a large, round room filled with plants and trees. It was like a small forest inside the ship. The air was clean and fresh. "This must be where they grew their food," Lisa said, examining the strange plants. Some had colorful fruits hanging from them. A soft noise made them all freeze. It came from behind a cluster of bushes with purple leaves. "Hello?" Jack called out. "Is anyone there?" The security officers raised their weapons. Jack motioned for them to stay calm but be ready. The bushes rustled. Then, slowly, a creature emerged. It was about the size of a small dog, with 6 legs and a body covered in scales that shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. It had 3 eyes, 2 on the sides of its head and 1 larger one in the center. A thin tail swished behind it. "What is it?" whispered Ben. Lisa slowly knelt down. "I think it's some kind of pet or companion animal. The Vraxians never mentioned keeping animals, but this doesn't look wild." The creature tilted its head, looking at them with what seemed like curiosity. It made a soft chirping sound and took a step closer to Lisa. "It doesn't seem dangerous," she said. Jack noticed something around the creature's neck, a collar with strange symbols on it. "It's definitely not wild," he said. "That's a collar." Lisa held out her hand slowly. The creature sniffed it with a small nose at the end of its pointed face. Then, to everyone's surprise, it rubbed its head against her hand like a cat might do. "It's friendly," Lisa said with a smile. "Poor thing must be all alone here." Jack contacted Captain Kelly and explained what they had found. The ship was abandoned, but this small alien creature remained. "No sign of the Vraxians?" Captain Kelly asked. "None, sir," Jack replied. "It looks like they left in a hurry, but we don't know why. This little creature seems to be the only living thing left on the ship." There was a pause before Captain Kelly spoke again. "Bring it back. Our scientists will want to study it. Maybe it can tell us something about what happened to the Vraxians." Jack looked at Lisa, who was now petting the creature. It seemed to enjoy the attention, making happy little chirping sounds. "Are you sure that's safe, sir?" Jack asked. "Science Officer Thompson can check it for any obvious dangers," Captain Kelly said. "But we can't pass up this opportunity. This might be our only link to the Vraxians." Lisa ran some tests with her portable scanner. "It doesn't appear to be carrying any diseases that could affect humans. Its body temperature is stable, and I don't see any weapons or dangerous features." Jack still felt uneasy, but orders were orders. "All right, let's bring it back to the ship." Lisa gently picked up the creature. It settled comfortably in her arms, those three eyes blinking slowly as if it trusted her completely. As they made their way back through the abandoned ship, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that they were making a mistake. Why would the Vraxians leave one of their pets behind? It didn't make sense. They returned to their ship with the creature. Captain Kelly met them in the landing bay, her eyes widening at the sight of the colorful six-legged animal. "Well," she said, "I guess we should give it a name." "How about Spot?" suggested Ben Cole. When everyone looked at him, he shrugged. "What? It has spots. Sort of." The name stuck. Spot was taken to a secure room where scientists could observe it safely, but it showed no signs of being dangerous. Instead, it seemed curious about everything and everyone. As their ships began the long journey back to Earth, with the alien vessel being towed behind them, no one could have guessed what they had really found. No one could have known that the fate of humanity had just changed forever. And Spot, the strange alien pet, watched them all with its three knowing eyes. Earth Station Alpha was the biggest space station humans had ever built. It floated high above the planet, a giant wheel spinning slowly to create gravity for the people who lived and worked there. Today, everyone at the station was excited and nervous. The ships carrying the alien creature were coming. Dr. Alan Foster had not slept well for 3 nights. As the top scientist who studied alien life, he would be in charge of the creature they called Spot. He had read all the reports from the ship. He had seen the pictures. But seeing a real alien animal would be different. It would be the most important moment of his life. The ships docked at the station early in the morning. Dr. Foster watched through a window as the crew came out. Science Officer Lisa Thompson was carrying a special clear box. Inside was Spot, looking around with its 3 eyes. "Welcome to Earth Station Alpha," Dr. Foster said, trying to sound calm. "I'm Dr. Alan Foster." Lisa smiled. "Spot has been a perfect passenger. It eats the fruit from the alien ship, sleeps about 4 hours a day, and seems very interested in humans." They took Spot to a special room that had been prepared. It was large and filled with plants similar to those from the alien ship. There were toys, climbing structures, and soft places to sleep. One wall was made of clear, strong glass, so scientists could watch Spot without disturbing it. "This will be your new home for a while," Lisa said to Spot as she opened the box. Spot stepped out slowly, its 6 legs moving in a smooth pattern. It looked around the room, then at the humans watching through the glass. Then it did something that surprised everyone. It walked to the glass and placed one of its front legs against it, as if saying hello. "Remarkable," whispered Dr. Foster. "It seems to understand." Over the next few days, Dr. Foster and his team watched Spot carefully. They were amazed by what they saw. Spot learned things very quickly. When they put food puzzles in the room, special boxes that Spot had to figure out how to open to get food, Spot solved them easily. "This is not normal animal behavior," Dr. Foster told Lisa one day. "Spot is solving puzzles that would challenge our smartest monkeys, and doing it in minutes." Lisa nodded. "On the ship, I noticed it watching us very carefully, like it was studying us." The scientists tried an experiment. They put a simple computer with a touch screen in Spot's room. The screen showed basic shapes and made sounds when Spot touched them. Within hours, Spot was using the screen to make music, touching the shapes and patterns to create songs. "This is beyond anything we expected," Dr. Foster said. "I think Spot is not just smart. It might be as smart as a human." Not everyone was happy about Spot. Colonel Frank Martinez from Military Intelligence came to the station 1 week after Spot arrived. He did not smile when he watched Spot play with its computer. "Do we know why the Vraxians kept this creature?" he asked Dr. Foster. "We don't know for sure it was a pet," Dr. Foster admitted. "We just assumed that because of the collar." Colonel Martinez frowned. "I've studied all our records of the Vraxian visit 50 years ago. They never mentioned having pets or companion animals. Don't you find that strange?" Dr. Foster had not thought about this before. Maybe they didn't think it was important to mention. "Or maybe," Colonel Martinez said, "this creature is not what we think it is." That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, something unusual happened. The cameras in Spot's room recorded it all. Spot waited until the lights were dimmed for nighttime. Then it went to the computer the scientists had given it. Using its front legs with surprising skill, Spot began touching the screen in complex patterns. The next morning, Dr. Foster noticed something odd. "The computer program has changed," he said. "There are new shapes and sounds that weren't there before. Could it be a glitch?" Lisa asked. They checked the night recordings and saw what Spot had done. "It reprogrammed the computer," Dr. Foster said in amazement. "It's not just using the program. It changed it to do more things." Lisa looked worried. "Should we tell Colonel Martinez about this?" Dr. Foster thought for a moment. "Not yet. Let's see what else Spot can do first." Lisa had been studying the strange collar around Spot's neck. The symbols on it did not match any known Vraxian writing. One day, she decided to try removing the collar to study it better. She entered Spot's room wearing a protective suit, just to be safe. Spot came to her right away, making the happy chirping sounds they had all grown used to. "Hello, Spot," Lisa said. "I'm just going to take a look at your collar, okay?" Spot sat still as Lisa examined the collar. She could not find any clasp or opening. It seemed to be a solid ring of metal with no way to take it off. When she tried to slide it over Spot's head, the collar suddenly grew warm in her hands. Spot backed away quickly, making a new sound, a low humming that Lisa had never heard before. Its 3 eyes blinked rapidly, and for a moment, Lisa thought she saw the central eye glow slightly. "It's okay," Lisa said softly. "I won't touch it again." Spot calmed down and went back to playing with its computer. But Lisa left the room feeling uneasy. 3 months passed. Spot grew bigger, now the size of a large dog. Its mind seemed to grow too. It could now solve complex puzzles that would challenge even smart humans. And it had begun to make sounds that seemed like words. Home, it chirped one day when Dr. Foster showed it pictures of the Vraxian ship. Did it just speak? A young scientist gasped. It's mimicking, Dr. Foster said, but he wasn't sure. Spot's eyes seemed too knowing, too aware. Then strange things began to happen all over Earth Station Alpha. Computer systems would flicker for a few seconds. Communications with Earth would cut out briefly. Engineers could find no cause. It started after Spot came. Colonel Martinez said to the station commander, "That can't be a coincidence." Dr. Foster defended Spot. "It has no access to our systems. It's in a contained room." But late that night, as Dr. Foster watched Spot through the glass wall, he saw something that made his blood run cold. Spot stood perfectly still in the center of the room, its three eyes all glowing now, the collar around its neck pulsing with light. And for just a second, Dr. Foster could have sworn he heard a voice in his head. Soon, it seemed to say. Very soon. Dr. Foster did not tell anyone about the voice he thought he heard in his head. He was a scientist. Scientists did not believe in magic or mind reading. There had to be a logical answer. Maybe he was just tired. Maybe his mind was playing tricks on him, but he watched Spot more carefully now. The alien creature had been with them for almost 6 months. It had grown even bigger, now the size of a small pony. Its scales shimmered more brightly than ever. And it was smart, so smart that it scared some of the scientists. Spot could now make simple words in English. Food, it would say when hungry. Play, when it wanted someone to give it new puzzles. Lisa, when Science Officer Thompson came. To visit, which she did often. The problems with the station's computers got worse. Sometimes all the lights would flicker. Sometimes messages sent to Earth would arrive scrambled. The engineers checked everything, but could not find the cause. Colonel Martinez came to Dr. Foster's office one morning, looking very serious. "I've spoken with Earth Command," he said. "They agree with me that the creature poses an unknown risk. We're going to move it to a secure facility on Earth." Dr. Foster stood up quickly. "You can't do that. Spot is the most important scientific discovery in human history. We're learning so much from it." "That's exactly what worries me, Colonel," Martinez said. "It's learning from us too. Learning too much, too fast." Dr. Foster called Lisa right away to tell her the news. She was as upset as he was. "Spot trusts us," she said. "Moving it to a military base would be cruel." They went together to see Spot. The creature seemed to sense their worry. It came to the glass wall and pressed its front legs against it. "Friends," it said in its chirping voice. "Friends sad?" "Yes, Spot, we're sad," Lisa said. "But we'll figure something out." That night, the station commander called an emergency meeting. All the top scientists and officers gathered in the main conference room. "Our communications with Earth are completely down," the commander said. "We can't send or receive any messages." "Is it a technical problem?" someone asked. The chief engineer shook his head. "All our systems check out fine. Something is blocking the signals between us and Earth." Colonel Martinez looked at Dr. Foster. "It started after your pet arrived. Now we can't contact Earth to get approval for its transfer. That's quite a coincidence." Dr. Foster was about to argue when alarms began to sound throughout the station. Red lights flashed. "What now?" the commander asked. A voice came over the speakers. "Sir, power fluctuations in all sections. And there's some kind of energy spike coming from the alien containment area." Everyone rushed to the monitoring room. On the screens, they could see Spot's room. The creature was standing in the center, perfectly still. Its collar was glowing brightly. Waves of light seemed to pulse from it. "What's it doing?" the commander asked. "I don't know," Dr. Foster said. "But I'm going to find out." Despite protests from Colonel Martinez, Dr. Foster and Lissa put on protective suits and went to Spot's room. They could feel strange energy in the air as they approached. The hair on their arms stood up even inside their suits. When they entered the room, Spot turned to look at them. All three of its eyes were glowing with bright blue light. "Spot," Lisa said carefully, "what are you doing?" The creature made a sound that was not like its usual chirps. It was deeper, more complex. "Time," it said. "Time now." Suddenly, the power in the entire section went out. The emergency lights came on, casting everything in a dim red glow. When the main lights came back on a few seconds later, Spot looked different, that it was standing on its back legs. Its body was changing shape before their eyes. The 6 legs were becoming 4 limbs, 2 legs, and 2 arms. The body was growing taller, more slender. The face was changing too, becoming flatter, more human-like, though still alien. Dr. Foster and Lissa backed away in shock. Colonel Martinez and security officers rushed into the room, weapons raised. "Stop right there!" Colonel Martinez shouted at the transforming creature. The being that had been Spot was now over 6 feet tall. It stood perfectly balanced on 2 legs. Its skin still had the colorful scales, but they were smaller, more like a fine pattern. The 3 eyes remained, blinking calmly at the humans. "Please lower your weapons," it said in perfect English. "I mean no harm." Colonel Martinez kept his gun pointed at the creature. "What are you?" The being touched the collar around its neck, which now looked like an elegant necklace. "I apologize for the deception," it said. "I am not a pet. I am what you might call a seed." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Dr. Foster stepped forward. "What do you mean, a seed?" The being looked at him with those 3 intelligent eyes. "My true name is Nexus 7. I was left here by the Vraxians for a purpose." "So the Vraxians abandoned you?" Lisa asked. Nexus 7 made a sound that might have been a gentle laugh. "No, they placed me here deliberately. I was planted like a farmer plants a seed." Colonel Martinez moved closer, his weapon still ready. "Why? What's your purpose?" "The Vraxians faced extinction," Nexus 7 said. "A cosmic event they could not survive. Before the end came, they sent beings like me to worlds throughout the galaxy. Worlds with species that showed promise." "Promise for what?" Dr. Foster asked. "To receive their legacy, their knowledge, their technology." Nexus 7 looked around at all of them. The Vraxians did not wish all they had learned to be lost. They sought worthy inheritors. Lisa's eyes widened. "And you were sent to judge if we were worthy?" Nexus 7 nodded. "Yes, I have been evaluating humanity since you found me." "The communication problems," Dr. Foster said suddenly. "That was you?" "I needed to connect to the network," Nexus 7 said, "to send my findings to the remaining Vraxian outposts. What you experienced were side effects of that process." Colonel Martinez did not lower his weapon. "And what have you decided about us? Are we worthy?" Nexus 7's central eye seemed to glow a bit brighter. "That evaluation is not complete, but the final test has now begun." As if on cue, all the screens in the room lit up with the same strange symbol, a pattern of lines and circles that no human had seen before. "What is that?" the commander asked. Nexus 7 looked at the symbol. "An invitation and a challenge. The Vraxians left their greatest achievements on their homeworld. If you can reach it, if you can solve the puzzles they left behind, all they knew will be yours." Dr. Foster looked at the alien being with wonder and fear. "And if we fail?" "Then the legacy will remain locked away," Nexus 7 said, "until another species proves worthy." The room fell silent as everyone tried to understand what this meant for humanity. A test, a challenge. A chance to gain knowledge beyond their dreams, or perhaps a danger beyond their nightmares. The news about Nexus 7 spread quickly through Earth Station Alpha. Some people were scared, others were excited. Everyone had questions. What was this test? What would happen if humans passed it? What would happen if they failed? Colonel Martinez did not trust Nexus 7. He ordered guards to watch the alien being at all times. But Dr. Foster and Lisa wanted to learn more. They spent hours talking with Nexus 7, asking questions about the Vraxians and their technology. The Vraxians lived for thousands of years, Nexus 7 explained. They explored many galaxies. They learned how to use energy in ways you cannot imagine. And they chose us as possible inheritors? Lisa asked. Why? Nexus 7's three eyes blinked slowly. They saw potential in humanity. You are young as a species, but you learn quickly. You are curious. You build. You dream of the stars. Dr. Foster leaned forward. But we also fight wars. We hurt our planet. We can be cruel to each other. Yes, Nexus 7 said. The Vraxians knew this. That is why there is a test. Not just of intelligence, but of wisdom, of compassion. While they talked, engineers worked to fix the communication systems. Finally, they got a message through to Earth. The leaders of the world's nations were both amazed and worried by the news from the space station. They're sending a special team to help us, the station commander told Dr. Foster. Scientists, diplomats, military experts. They'll be here in 3 days. Colonel Martinez saw this as a chance to take control of the situation. We should contain the alien until they arrive, he said. Put it in a secure cell. Dr. Foster disagreed strongly. Nexus 7 is not a prisoner. It's an ambassador from an advanced civilization. An ambassador that lied to us for months, pretending to be a pet. Colonel Martinez reminded him. The station commander had to make a decision. The alien stays in the science section, she said finally. With guards, but not in a cell. We need to show respect if we want to pass this test. Colonel Martinez was not happy with this decision. Later that day, he met privately with some of his security officers. We can't risk the safety of Earth on some alien test, he told them. We need to take control of the situation. That night, as most of the station slept, Colonel Martinez and 6 armed officers went to the room where Nexus 7 was staying. They carried special equipment designed to contain the alien. Dr. Foster was working late in his lab when he saw them on the security cameras. He called Lisa right away. Martinez is going to capture Nexus 7, he said. We have to stop him. They rushed to Nexus 7's room, but they were too late. Colonel Martinez and his team were already inside. They had surrounded Nexus 7, who stood calmly in the center of the room. You're coming with us, Colonel Martinez said to the alien, for the safety of Earth. That would be unwise, Nexus 7 replied softly. Colonel Martinez signaled to his officers. They activated a special energy field designed to contain unknown threats. The field surrounded Nexus 7, glowing with blue light. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, to everyone's shock, Nexus 7 simply walked through the energy field as if it wasn't there. Your technology cannot contain me, Nexus 7 said. Its voice was still calm, but there was a new tone to it, something like sadness. The security officers raised their weapons. Colonel Martinez held up his hand to stop them from firing. What are you? He asked, his voice shaking slightly. I told you what I am, Nexus 7 said. A seed, a messenger, a test. The alien touched its collar, which glowed briefly. And now you have made a choice that will be part of your evaluation. Dr. Foster and Lisa entered the room then. Stop this, Dr. Foster shouted to Colonel Martinez. You're going to ruin everything. The station commander arrived moments later, alerted by the security systems. She looked around the room, taking in the armed officers, the failed containment field, and the calm alien standing in the middle of it all. "Colonel Martinez," she said coldly, "you disobeyed my direct orders." "With respect, Commander," Martinez replied, "I was doing what I thought necessary to protect Earth." Nexus 7 looked at all of them. This reaction is not unexpected. Fear is natural when faced with the unknown. The question is whether you can move beyond fear to understanding. The room fell silent. Then Lieutenant Jack Miller, who had been quietly watching from the doorway, stepped forward. He had been the first human to discover Nexus 7 on the Vraxian ship, but he had stayed in the background since returning to the station. "I have a question," he said to Nexus 7. "You said this is a test, but who decides if we pass or fail? Just you? Is one being enough to judge an entire species?" Nexus 7 turned its 3 eyes to Jack. A wise question. "No, I am not the only judge. I observe and report. The final evaluation will come when you face the challenges on the Vraxian homeworld." "And? What if we refuse this test?" Colonel Martinez asked. "What if we decide we don't want your alien technology?" "Then nothing changes," Nexus 7 said simply. "I would leave and humanity would continue on its own path. The offer would remain open. For the future, should you change your minds." The commander stepped forward. "I think this is too important for just us to decide. This affects all of humanity." Jack nodded. "I agree. We should invite representatives from all Earth nations to discuss this. Show that humans can work together. When facing something this important." Dr. Foster looked at Jack with new respect. "That's actually a brilliant idea. It would demonstrate exactly the kind of cooperation that might impress the Vraxians. And in the meantime," Lisa added, "we could learn more from Nexus 7. Prepare ourselves better for whatever challenges await." The commander thought for a moment, then nodded. "I'll recommend this to Earth leadership right away." Colonel Martinez did not look happy, but he ordered his officers to stand down. As they left the room, he paused by Nexus 7. "I still don't trust you," he said quietly. "But I do care about Earth's future. If there's really technology that could help humanity, I want us to have it." Nexus 7's central eye seemed to study the colonel closely. "Your caution is not wrong, Colonel. Great power requires great care. That understanding may serve humanity well in the trials to come." Over the next few days, the station became very busy. Communications with Earth were fully restored. Leaders from around the world spoke with Nexus 7 through video calls. Plans were made for a special meeting on Earth Station Alpha, with representatives from 12 nations. Dr. Foster continued his work with Nexus 7, learning more about the Vraxians and their technology. The alien showed them images of the Vraxian homeworld, a beautiful planet with silver oceans and tall, crystal-like cities. "The journey there will not be easy," Nexus 7 warned. "And what you find may not be what you expect." One evening, as Lisa was showing Nexus 7 some of Earth's art and music, she asked a question that had been on her mind. "Were there other seeds like you, sent to other worlds?" Nexus 7 was quiet for a moment. "Yes," it said finally. "Many were sent. I do not know how many found worthy species." "So we might not be alone out there," Lisa said softly. "There might be other inheritors." "If they pass their tests," Nexus 7 replied. "The galaxy is full of life, but wise life is rare and precious." As the days passed, preparations began for humanity's greatest journey, to the stars, to face an ancient test, and perhaps to claim a legacy beyond their dreams. 1 year had passed since the discovery of Nexus 7. The world had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Countries that once fought each other now worked together. Scientists shared their discoveries freely. A new sense of purpose united. The people of Earth thought the great ship Hope was ready. It was the largest spaceship humans had ever built. Inside were living areas, science labs, and powerful engines that could travel faster than light. This amazing technology came from just a small part of the knowledge Nexus 7 had shared. Jack Miller stood on the bridge of the Hope. He was now Captain Miller, chosen to lead this historic mission to the Vraxian homeworld. Lisa Thompson was beside him as the chief science officer. Dr. Foster led the research team. Even Colonel Martinez was there, in charge of security. He still watched Nexus 7 carefully, but he had come to accept the aliens' importance. "All systems are ready," said the ship's engineer. "We can leave whenever you give the order, Captain." Jack looked at Nexus 7, who stood quietly near the main window. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" Nexus 7's 3 eyes blinked slowly. "No species is ever fully ready. That is part of the test, but you have prepared well." The Hope carried 200 people, scientists, engineers, doctors, and representatives from Earth's nations. They were the best humanity had to offer, chosen to face the challenges of the Vraxian legacy. Jack took a deep breath and gave the order. "Take us out." Hope moved away from Earth Station Alpha. Its engines glowed bright blue. Then, in a flash of light, it jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the solar system behind. The journey would take 3 weeks using the new engines. During this time, the crew studied everything they knew about the Vraxians. They practiced solving complex puzzles. They discussed philosophy and ethics, trying to understand how the Vraxians might think. Nexus 7 watched all this with interest. "You prepare differently than other species might," it told Lisa one day. "You focus not just on the technical challenges, but on understanding the minds behind them. Isn't that important?" Lisa asked. "Very," Nexus 7 said. "More important than many realize." As they got closer to their destination, Nexus 7 spent more time alone, often standing by the windows, looking out at the stars. Dr. Foster noticed that the alien's collar was glowing more often. "Are you communicating with someone?" he asked Nexus-7. Nodded. "The automated systems on the Vraxian world. They are preparing for your arrival." Finally, the day came. The Hope dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a beautiful blue-green planet. From space, they could see the crystal cities that Nexus 7 had shown them in pictures. They sparkled in the light of the planet's sun. "It's amazing," Jack said softly. "They built all this thousands of years ago?" "Yes," Nexus 7 said. "The Vraxians lived here for over 20,000 years before the end came." The Hope entered the planet's atmosphere and landed on a flat area near the largest city. Everyone prepared to go outside. They put on light protective suits, not knowing what the air would be like. When the doors opened, they stepped out onto the surface of an alien world. The ground was covered with soft, blue grass-like plants. The air, which their instruments said was safe to breathe, smelled sweet and fresh. In the distance, the crystal buildings of the city rose high into the sky. "Follow me," Nexus 7 said. "The Grand Archive is in the center of the city." They walked through empty streets. The buildings were made of a clear material that looked like glass but was stronger than steel. Inside, they could see furniture, artwork, and signs of the people who once lived there. "Where did they go?" Lisa asked. "The Vraxians?" Nexus 7 was quiet for a moment. "They did not leave. They ended." A solar flare from their sun, much larger than anything they had seen before. They had only enough time to send seeds like me to find new inheritors. The group fell silent as they realized they were walking through a beautiful tomb. An entire civilization gone forever. They reached a huge round building in the center of the city. Its walls were covered with the same symbols they had seen on Nexus 7's collar. "The Grand Archive," Nexus 7 said. "All Vraxian knowledge is stored here, but it will only open to those who pass the final test." A large door stood before them, sealed, shut. Next to it was a panel with strange controls. "What do we do?" Jack asked. "You must solve the puzzle," Nexus 7 said. "But I must warn you, the knowledge inside is powerful. Energy sources that never run out. Machines that can build anything. Medical science that can cure any disease. Weapons that could destroy worlds. The Vraxians need to know you will use this power wisely." The team gathered around the panel. Dr. Foster studied the symbols. Lisa took readings with her instruments. Others offered ideas and suggestions. They worked together, each person adding their own skills and knowledge. Hours passed. The sun began to set, casting long shadows through the Crystal City. Finally, Dr. Foster stepped back from the panel. "I think I understand," he said. "It's not just one puzzle. It's many puzzles in one. And they don't all have right answers. Some are asking what we would choose, not what is correct." Colonel Martinez frowned. "What do you mean?" "Look at this section," Dr. Foster pointed. "It shows 2 worlds. One is dying. The other is healthy. There's a ship in between. I think it's asking if we would save a dying world, even at risk to ourselves." Jack looked at Nexus 7. "Is that right? Are you testing our choices, not just our intelligence?" Nexus 7 nodded. "Wisdom and compassion are as important as knowledge. Perhaps more important." The team discussed the moral puzzles presented to them. They debated and voted on the difficult choices. Finally, they entered their answers. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the great door began to glow. It slid open slowly, revealing a vast room beyond. Inside, a soft blue light filled the space. The walls were lined with crystal columns that seemed to be filled with swirling energy. "The archive," Nexus 7 said. "All that the Vraxians knew and learned through their long history." As they entered, the light grew brighter. Images began to appear in the air around them. Stars, planets, machines, living things from 1,000 worlds. The knowledge of an ancient civilization now offered to humanity. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. In the center of the room was a large crystal sphere. As Nexus 7 approached it, the sphere opened like a flower. Inside was another sphere, and another inside that, layer after layer opening to reveal what was hidden at the center. "What is it?" Lisa asked. "The truth," Nexus 7 said. The Vraxians were not the first to follow this path. The final layer opened. Inside was a small device, older than the Vraxian civilization itself. "The Vraxians were chosen, as you have been chosen," Nexus 7 explained. "They too were tested by a dying civilization that came before them. And before that, another. The chain stretches back billions of years." Jack looked at the ancient device in wonder. "So we're just the latest in a long line?" "Yes," Nexus 7 said. "Each civilization adding their knowledge to the archive before passing it on. A legacy not of one species, but of many, stretching back to the dawn of intelligent life in this galaxy." As they watched, Nexus 7 began to change. Its body glowed with the same blue light as the archive. Then slowly, it divided into 2 beings, then 4, then 8. "What's happening?" Dr. Foster asked. "My purpose is complete," the original Nexus 7 sighed. "Now new seeds must be created. Some will stay to guide humanity. Others will journey onward, seeking other worthy species." One of the new beings approached Jack. "The network is activating. Soon you will receive signals from other worlds where seeds found worthy inheritors. A new community of species is forming, all sharing the legacy of those who came before." As the humans from Earth stood in the ancient archive, surrounded by the knowledge of countless civilizations, they realized that they were not alone in the universe. They were part of something greater, a chain of life and learning that spanned Billions of years. The strange alien pet had not just changed humanity's future. It had connected them to a cosmic family they never knew they had.